so to recap all these videos and put it into a final video, everything that I've done to this car so far. So struts on the front and the back are the exact same as the OE style replacement. We got rid of the Lakewood 7030s and 5050s that were on it. The struts on the front were actually fine, but he doesn't need drag struts on the front of this thing. And the 5050s on the back were blowed out, so we threw them away. I put brand new control arms on the back, aftermarket upper and lowers with polyurethane bushings. Got rid of the rubber ones that were all cracked, deteriorated, and busted, and got rid of the wheel hop. Under the hood here, as you know, I replaced the radiator. Also, not only did I fix the leak, I also have more clearance in the supercharger belt. Went in, put a new upper radiator hose on at the same time because it had dug into it a little bit here. Upgraded the supercharger pulley from the original Vortex style to the Grip Tech pulley with the hub. And I have now the 275 pulley on it. Yesterday during my test drive, it hit a peak of 16 pounds of boost. So with the other pulley, we're hitting about 12 pounds of boost, and with this one, we're hitting about 16 pounds of boost. So all the power he could ever want, he now has it, no more slipping belt. So it's gonna make more power than it ever has. I don't think it ever made this much boost when they first built the car. I think it was slipping the belt from day one. So that's fixed now. Recharged air conditioning last night. It was low in Freon. I got that all squared away. It's blowing 35 degrees out. And last night it was in the 60s. So 60 degrees outside and it was blowing 35 degrees out. So the air conditioner works great now. And as you know, I did the tune-up stuff, cap rotor, changed the vacuum lines on it, changed the oil in it, sucked out all the power steering fluid, put new power steering fluid in it, bled all the brakes, got brand new .4 brake fluid all the way through it, greased the pins for the calipers, set the air pressure in the tires. What else I do here? Adjusted the headlights. They weren't pointed up properly. They were pointed down too low. Man, I've done so much. Did the purge kit, got the dual purge on it now. Cleaned the air filter. Trying to think. Just tidied up some stuff in here, basically cleaned it. Fixed the oil leaks from the oil pan. Sometimes people don't know stuff's not right, sometimes they do, but right now, this car stops properly. It handles properly. The suspension rides great. The wheel hop is gone, so you don't worry about breaking stuff in it. It runs phenomenal. I mean, the startup runs good. The drivability is perfect. It makes phenomenal power now. Like I said in the other video, with the 2.9 pulley I can put on it, it's more manageable power. It still skims the tires. It's still in third gear to blow through the tires. But with this pulley on it, it's ridiculous. I mean, it is just, it's a crowd pleaser. Take people for rides in it. I'm sure he can do that. He can impress them and blow tires off all the way through third gear, no problem. Not even trying, I mean, not even driving it that hard like I do. But it is a fast car. It's super fast. He will not understand how fast this car is till he sits in and actually drives it like I do. But this car is phenomenal. So it's making all of, I would estimate with the 2.9 pulley, anywhere between 525, 575 at the tires, and with the 2.7 pulley, anywhere between 575 and 650 at the tires. And that's based on stuff I've had. I mean, I've had 347 strokers with nitrous on them, and my 347 stroker with 125 shot of nitrous will run 1070s at 125 in the quarter, and 670s in the eighth at like 101. This car makes more power than my car. So this car with the supercharger and all, it was same stroker. I mean, 331, 347, apples to apples. It's pretty much the same thing. Weight's about the same as what my car weighed then. Same 373 gears, 5-speed T5, everything I had. Suspension is slightly different, but other than that, I feel like this car all day long with a sticky tire. This is a mid 10-second quarter-mile car and a mid to high 6-second car in the eighth. And again, that's just with like a drag radial, maybe a small 26x10 or 28x9 slick on it. So he does need subframe connectors to do that. If he had those on here and a sticky tire, I feel like I could go down to Galat and run 6s on it all night long, no problem. And if we go down to a quarter-mile track, this is an easy, a 10-second car, no matter how you drive it. Granny shifting it high 10s, power shifting it mid-low 10s. So the project's come full circle, runs great, it's got cold air conditioning, makes all the boost. It is a phenomenal, phenomenal hot rod. I hope you'll be real happy with it. So thanks for following along this journey. Just wanted to show you some of the things I did to it. Go back and recap everything that's done. But the biggest thing was fixing the leak, which was the radiator, and fixing the supercharger belt slipping, which is a combination of things. One, the belt was touching. Two, the pulley was just slipping, and fixed all that. And now the white blur is good to go. All right, so I'm already in the process of taking the stock control arms off of this thing, putting some real suspension up under it. You'll see the stock arms up here. Stock lowers, already got the bottom lower off. You see my brand new shocks. Got these brand new upper and lower control arms here. But here's what I want to show you. Why does it wheel hop real bad? Right here lies the problem. So the factory has these rubber bushings. Well, not only are these cracked, as you can see, but you see this little bit of gap right here? Well, that gives it some articulation and play where it can actually move back and forth. And with the bushings just being so old and wore out, it actually allows it to move and cause the wheel hop. So see that? See how that hole actually looks oblong shape? It's actually not particularly round. That's also causing some slop and making it wheel hop. So therein lies the problem. So I knew what the problem was. And some people, they like to keep stuff stock. They keep this arm, they press new bushings in it, but you know, we ain't got time for all that. So what we're gonna do here, put this new hotness on. So these are tubular aftermarket control arms. These things are awesome. They got these polyurethane bushings pressed in. As you see, they are solid all the way around, but they still control the noise, vibration, and harshness. So they are not completely solid like a Heim joint on a race car, but they will be much more solid and get the power to the ground, and they're not cracked. Plus, they actually are about the same weight, so we're not adding any more weight to the car, but they are definitely gonna be better. And you'll notice I got some uppers to go with it. So I was just gonna do the lowers, but I got a great deal on the combo up and lower sets, so we're gonna change up our lowers. So now we're gonna have some traction action. So with the new shocks in the back and the new upper and lower control arms, we're gonna start making this thing happen. Oh, and by the way, I already got the party pulley on it. So the 275 pulley is installed and the 29 pulley is sitting over here in the box. So just to show you, there is the 29 pulley in the box and the 275 is up there on the car. So party pulley is engaged since we got the new suspension, why not? So next time I take the car out to try out the new party pulley, we're gonna have some suspension upgrades on it, and we're gonna see what the white blur could really do. Because if you enjoyed part 4, which, boy, them haters are coming out. I mean, the tears are flowing. I gotta start investing in Kleenex and get them to sponsor my channel for all the crying that's been going on. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of crying going on. My man, his street rep is going up. You know what I'm saying? Street cred on the white blur is coming alive because these guys are crying a damn river. But anyway, we're just unleashing what the car already had in it. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. We're just getting it ready. So for all you thinking I bought the car, I ain't bought the car. I'm just my man's mechanic. So you can call me the pit crew. It's over here getting the pit crew action on it. But he's getting ready to slide back in here and it's gonna scare him to death. All right, hang tight. I'll be done in a minute. All right, give you a final tour of the suspension. There's the upper and lower control arms installed, and the rear sway bar is hooked up. Now I'll go ahead and give you a secret. When you're putting on most aftermarket lower control arms, you'll have to move the clips off of the factory sway bar and put them onto the new arms, and put your sway bar on the outside. So typically the sway bar is on the inside of the factory control arms, but you're gonna put it on the outside, and you'll figure it out. You'll try to put it in there and it just won't fit. So you'll figure out to take the clips off of here, put them inside here, which retain your bolts, and then tighten it down, and you're good to go. So other than that, you can check out the upper arms and lower arms. Just need to wipe everything off. Shocks are hooked back up, so you can see the brand new shocks, brand new upper and lower arms. Now what I want to show you here of interest, these are the upper control arms where they attach to the body. Look how that's torn. That's where it attaches to the body. Both sides. Both sides are actually torn, see that? So that can contribute to the wheel hop. These are the lower arms. Again, this is just a typical Fox body Mustang. What happens over time, these bushings just get worn out, hard, brittle, and the torque of the car. And then this, we're talking stock 225 horsepower rated Fox bodies, not triple the horsepower Fox body Mustangs with somebody driving like a maniac, you know. Anyway, so now we've addressed the suspension, and you know, yeah, it does help traction and all that, but this to me is a safety concern. So suspension, brakes, steering, things like that, these are safety items. So you definitely want to address that, just like the shocks and the struts. I put brand new shocks on here because the other ones were blowed out. They weren't doing their job. They weren't actually providing shock absorption for the car. Just like the struts in the front, they're racing struts, and the more I drive it, the more I feel like the struts are just not doing their job. So I'm changing those out too. I'm putting the exact same type of strut on the front that matches shocks on the back. So they're OE style replacements. So this thing is going to ride like a brand new 1990 GT when I put them on there, other than having lowered springs in the front. So hopefully that's gonna make a big difference, especially with the tie rod end links I put on here for the suspension, for the safety. Again, safety, you got fast speed, you wanna make sure your car steers and brakes and handles properly for the necessary speed that you've got. So you'll notice what I got going on here is I raised the car up. I put it on jack stands to simulate that it's actually on the ground, but I've got to be able to get up under here and do this. And after my test drive, everything was nice and loose and settled in. But now I'm going back and I'm actually torquing the control arm, the housing bolts, the housing to control arm bolts at the top and the bottom, and then the control arms to the frame, top and bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and torque all those down. The specs, let me show you what they look like. So it's really cool if you go to late model restoration. They actually have this listed for the Fox body for the rear suspension, if you didn't know. So right here we can see all the different torque specs here for the upper control arm to the axle, to the frame, for the lower control arm to the axle and the frame. But overall you're looking anywhere between 70 to 100 foot-pounds all the way across the board. So 80 to 100, 70 to 100, 80 to 100, 70 to 100 for 87 to 93, which is what this car is. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna set the torque specs on it, and then the control arms, upper and lower, will be done. This thing, the wheel hop is completely gone. It runs great. However, it does try to put the power now to the tire, and now it's uncovered how weak this tire is at hooking. So again, like I said before, we're fixing problems, but we're showing the weak links. So now the weak link is the tire. So now I got the car working, and it's transferring the power, but it's putting the power actually now to the tire, and the tire's going, I can't handle it. All right, now that we got the rear suspension all buttoned up and torqued in, now we're moving to the front. So I fully believe that these struts are no good for what he's doing. So we're gonna get these Monroe struts, OE Spectrum, which match the shocks I put on the back. So we'll have the exact same spec shocks and struts on the car now. Anyway, I'm gonna take the strut out, put this OE strut in it, and we're gonna have not only the new sway bar bushings in the front, but new struts in the front. While I take this brake caliper off, I'm gonna check the brakes too and make sure they're still legit and in good condition, because you know, a couple 125-mile-an-hour stops like that will take their toll, you know what I'm saying? All right, quick update. This is the new strut. It's gonna go in. You gotta take the little bounce, little rubber jounce bouncer, they call it, transfer it over from the original strut to your new one. And then the dust cover, pretty easy to do. While I was in here, I went ahead and took the spring out, cleaned all the dirt and debris out of the spring pocket, cleaned up spring. I noticed the lower rubber isolator here that actually keeps the spring from touching the metal. His was torn, so I had some spares here. So I actually put this one on in place of the one that was raise it up in there, put the nut on it. They supply a new nut. And then you may or may not need these spacers to go between your spindle and the strut. Depends on what type of strut you have. Certain ones need it, certain ones don't. The Lakewood struts did need these spacers. These struts come with it. If it's tight enough, you don't need them. If it's not, you throw them in there. It's pretty easy. And I'm gonna put this all together, and then this side will be done. The brake pads look like they were in pretty good shape. It's a good idea to tie your caliper up so it doesn't put weight on the brake line like I did there. But as you can tell, the brake pads have good life left in them, so we're good there. And the pins were dry. So you can see here, I'm gonna grease the pins and put them back in there. It just helps the caliper to slide back and forth properly. And yeah, we're gonna get it back together. Should be good to go here. All right, so what I'm about to do here is I'm ready to put the caliper back on. I'm getting ready to put these pins in. Now what happens, you put these pins in, the caliper actually slides back and forth on these pins, and you'll notice there's no grease on the pins. So part of the caliper's function is to slide back and forth smoothly. Well, to do that, it needs to be lubricated, and for that, you need something called caliper grease. So that's what this is. I'm gonna grease these pins like I did the other side. And when I put these back into here, like so, just like that, not only does it secure this whole contraption in there like it should, it allows it to slide back and forth freely. So it makes the brakes really smooth. What I'm gonna do after that, I can tell this brake fluid's never been cycled out. I'm gonna pressurize the system with my tank, and I'm gonna flush out all the old brake fluid and put in new brake fluid. This car came with .3. I actually have .4 over there, a big jug of it. So I'm gonna put .4 through it. .3 and 4 are compatible. So I'm gonna flush it out and put .4 all the way through it. What happens is over time, your brake fluid can absorb moisture, and the repeated stops and everything, what you'll find is that you'll get like a spongy pedal, or brake fade is what they call it. And I can tell this car has a spongy pedal. It just doesn't feel as tight as it should. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the basics, because I had the front end apart, putting brand new struts on the front. And you can see the brand new end links for the sway bar. I'm gonna get this where the brake calipers are sliding properly. And then I'm gonna bleed the brake fluid. What we're doing is we're making sure not only is it gonna be fast, but it's gonna be safe. So that's the whole point. He came here for a detail, and I fixed leaks on it. While it was here, I fixed the boost problem. It now has the little 275 pulley, so it's gonna make all the boost. I have test drove it. It had a little bit of a belt slip problem. I just had to go ahead and put some extra tension on the pulley. Once I did that, it's actually making all the boost now. It's a rocket ship. It's blowing the tires off just like I predicted it would, these hard street tires. But now we're concentrating on the suspension, making it ride perfect, and working on the brakes. So after I do this, it's going to be recharging the Freon, so the air conditioner works. It's just low in Freon. I've got that with my kit. I'll recharge the Freon, so that's blowing perfect. So when the summertime gets here, he'll have nice cold air conditioning, and then we'll be good to go. This car's gonna be 100%. So that's how you do things around here at TTSaleen's shop. Damn, I couldn't get out of it fast enough. I think that was 15, 16 pounds. Wow. Dude. I tell you what we don't have. Wheel hop.